soon we can also see that Hyperbound, entering into metaverse and people are doing
Why not?
VR calls with sales, bot.
Why not?
That will be interesting to see. I mean, great. Yeah, that's a great idea. That could be a good use case.
Actually, a very interesting use case, man. I mean, we've been asked. You know what? There's this one interesting use case we've been asked for,
Yeah,
and
one of your bot remind me of my ex. So yeah.
it's been entirely word of mouth, man. From day one, it's just been word of mouth. Every day I wake up, I have like thousands of calls already done on the platform.
Where you find which market need more training, which market is more mature in terms of good SDR numbers and in terms of more users of Hyperbound.
You know, the buzz thing is nice. It's a great way to get a lot of people interested, get people talking about it. Yeah, so it's been fully founder-led sales. Just my co-founder and I do all the sales right now. So we have a couple different ideas. We'll reveal them as we go.
Hello. Welcome back on this podcast, the KickSaaS podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest. I know that you're excited for this because you have seen it on thumbnail. Sriharsa Sai is co-founder and CEO of Hyperbound, and you know what this product do, right? It's a crazy product. You can practice, you can see what exactly you're doing, how you can make cold call, all lot of things. They recently had a competition on cold calling and it went viral on LinkedIn. So if you wanted to know more about Hyperbound, what exactly they are doing, how they are doing, what changes have been done, and also a fun talk about what kind of people they are hiring and how SDR can improve in cold calling. So if you wanted to learn all these things, this podcast is definitely for you. Welcome, Sai. Welcome to the podcast, the KickSaaS podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pratik, for having me. Super happy to be here.
Okay, how this happened? Why Hyperbound?
Yeah, man, it's it's been a crazy journey. We originally didn't start with the product that you're seeing today. We
Mhm.
actually went through summer 2023 of Y Combinator last year. And, we had so many different ideas we were originally exploring. And it was quite the journey, just a lot of exploration. We talked to hundreds and hundreds of sales leaders. And I think at the end of the day, what we realized is that there's a big gap in training right now, right? Specifically, as reps start to jump more on the phones these days, they're making more cold calls, right? They're expected to be, the market has also been very difficult in general. So reps have to be extra good at their job. And so, there's this focus around upskilling and training. And I think we've really just captured the market there ever since we started.
So, was it because you are frustrated with the bad cold calls? That's why you started this company because you want to receive cold calls or something like that?
Yeah, no, honestly, that was part of it. I mean, I'm an engineer. My co-founder and I were both originally software engineers, so our background wasn't necessarily in sales. So definitely, there was a piece of it where we wanted to get better ourselves, and this was a great way to do that. But also, we went to a couple conferences in late November, met a lot of sales leaders there, and interestingly enough, the number one topic that all these sales leaders were talking about was just how difficult it is to keep an SDR, right? And
Hmm.
on top of that, how difficult it is to just train them up and make sure they actually perform, right? And so we just started asking simple questions. We're like, well, why is it so hard to train? Why not just hire a sales trainer? There are millions of sales trainers out there. You can just go get a sales trainer and then have them train up your reps regularly, right? There thing is, it's not that simple, right? One human sales trainer can't train up like hundreds of reps, right? And nor can that person spend one-on-one time with each person, right? And that's where we decided, okay, well, if that's the issue, then why not have AI train your reps, right? AI doesn't have a limitation on how many people it can train. Like you can have one-on-one training with an AI anytime you want, right? And that really blew people's minds at that conference, and that's what kind of led to this whole idea being formed.
Wow, great. So you just mentioned that you guys started this product in January, right? And it's been 6 months, and market going crazy about your product. I mean, as I mentioned, I have my own community, and people are trying your product, and they are talking about you. And then I decided that I should reach out to you, and I should call you on podcast, right? How this happened? How? What do you think? Why you were so successful within this time period, within this 6 months?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I think it really, well, there's a couple things, right? One is the product that we built inherently is just fun. It's just pure fun, right? You jump into the product, you try talking to one of our AI bots, and immediately it's like a pattern interrupt, right? You run into it, you expect to see some like AI that sounds robotic, that doesn't sound realistic. But as soon as it starts and it roasts you sometimes, right? Our bots are very rude, by the way. So when you start talking to them and they're just very mean to you, it really catches people off guard, right? And I think that was definitely like a reason why people started sharing it, because they're like, guys, check this out. I've never seen this before. I've never seen a mean AI before, right?
Yeah,
And
one of your bot remind me of my ex. So yeah.
exactly, and they were built that way on purpose, so that really helped for sure. But also just how simple we made it for people to talk to one of these bots, right? If you look at a lot of tools out there, there's always a big paywall. Jump on the website, you have to book a demo before you can see anything, right? But we were like, okay, let's just put a free version out there that anyone can use as much as they want, and that
Hmm.
turned out to be an amazing choice, and it really paid off in terms of it's been the our primary source of lead generation for the last 6 months.
Hmm. And that's crazy. I mean, the way you guys are doing it, the way you guys are doing free stuff and all, right? People are trying it, people are loving it. Most important thing, people are talking about it, right? They are going up front, putting out your content, they're recording the stuff, they're putting out, and they are making sure that other people are also trying. It's just like they are doing it viral marketing for you, and that's working for you, I guess. Yeah, right?
It's been entirely word of mouth, man. From day one, it's just been word of mouth. Every day I wake up and I have like thousands of calls already done on the platform, right? And that's with zero marketing spend on our end. To this day, Atul and I haven't spent a single dollar on marketing, and except for that website, except for that free website. That obviously, like every call that you make, it's marketing spend for us. But outside of that, we haven't spent any money on like social media marketing or LinkedIn marketing or anything like that. So
Okay. So I also wanted to ask a brutal question, right? This is a fun product, right? It's good to have product, not must to have product. As I can see it, right? What's your plan with this? What is the future?
yeah, that's an amazing question. I don't get asked that often, so I appreciate you asking that. So yeah, no, that's a great observation, and I think the thing here, right, is like as as the market starts to shift and it becomes harder and harder to sell these products, especially in the B2B SaaS market, there's this increasing need to get more specialized people, get people that are, it's no longer going to be just like a spray and pray approach where I just, go hire someone, have them just send out like thousands of emails and hope you get enough responses. Now you actually need skilled people on your team, right? So even though it might not seem like a need to have right now, I can tell you for a fact from having worked with the customers that we are, that it's starting to become a need to have as they spend more time on it, because what they're realizing is the way they used to do onboarding was like 3 to 6 months to onboard a single rep before, right? And that's just because that's how long it takes them to get the experience they need. You can do that now in like under 2 months with Hyperbound,
Hmm.
right? Which
Right.
is huge, huge in terms of say, like if someone was to do it any other way after using Hyperbound, they would just, they would not be happy. And so I think that's where this becomes a need to have, is like, okay, once you get used to this new process of onboarding and training reps, it's very hard to go back to the way it used to be. And we're
Hmm.
already seeing that shift slowly with our own customers.
Yeah. Okay. In India, the SaaS is rising, right? There are people who wanted to get into SaaS after a tech bubble bursting. People wanted to get more into SaaS, and there are people who now you're understanding the importance of good SDRs and making good calls and all, right? Uh, as a Indian SaaS sales expert, I can see that there are huge demand right now in market. But if I talk about US market, which are already ahead in terms of SaaS and B2B SaaS, all those stuff, right? Uh, you are selling across the globe, right? Where you find which market need more training, which market is more mature in terms of good SDR numbers and in terms of more users of Hyperbound.
Yeah. So that is definitely something we're still figuring out. I don't have a solid answer for you on which market needs the most training or which market we're finding the most interest in. But there is one early indicator that is quite interesting, right? Especially in the EMEA market, what we've noticed is that because of GDPR and the two-party consent rules, reps can't actually record their sales calls with clients, right? And
Hmm.
that is actually a big problem because they're not actually able to retroactively go back and figure out how they can improve, or their managers can't actually go listen to their calls. So there's very little visibility into what they're doing, right? But with Hyperbound, this is like the first time their managers can actually listen to their pitch, listen to what they're doing, right? And have it done in an objective way. Like, sure, people have been doing role plays, and yeah, role plays are just awkward. They're not realistic. People don't like doing them, right? But this is a very objective way to get people to do a solid role play that your manager can actually listen to and then coach you on, right? So we've definitely seen early indicators of that, especially in markets like EMEA because of those legality reasons, right? And I think that is also like interesting. Like we've been getting a lot of inbound just from EMEA just for that reason alone.
Hmm. Are you also planning to launch some call recording tools or something like that for certain markets, and also wanted to give you feedback on those calls, just like Gong and other solutions?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I mean, we haven't made like a big deal about this yet, but we already do that. In fact, yep, some of our customers have already implemented that, or are in the process of implementing that right now. Because ultimately, yes, you're completely right. Right, the full experience is like, okay, you train on Hyperbound, you go apply that training to your real calls, and then figure out how you can further improve after that. Right, you close that feedback loop. And yeah, you're 100% right. We already do support that. We just haven't made a big deal about it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll definitely like to try that part of at my organization, and definitely will definitely figure out that how that's gonna improve our sales reps, right?
Yeah, 100%. I'm happy to get that working for you, man.
Sai, what's about your personal life? What exactly happening? Hyperbound, then YC happened last year, right? And things has been changed, and you are coming from a different origin. You are building a wonderful product, and in a country where the entire people understand the technology and they understand that importance of time, right? What exactly happening in your personal life? What you are feeling nowadays?
That's a great question. It's I think being a founder, man, is it's not easy. It's like you're voluntarily choosing to put yourself through one of the hardest things that any person could probably go through. There's definitely times when yeah, things aren't going the way you want them to, and you have to just remind yourself to be positive that there is scope for this thing to grow, right? And then also there's the highs as well, right? There are times when you just close one of your biggest deals. Like recently, we just closed the largest contract we've ever closed, and that was huge for us, right? We were ecstatic, right? And then like 2 days after that, we also lost the biggest contract that we could have ever closed. And so it's just the way these things happen. It's not easy being a founder, and the nice part is my co-founder and I were both really close friends. Like we knew each other since high school. We've known each other for almost 10, 15 years now. So yeah, we have each other's backs at all times, and we're kind of there for each other when one
Hmm.
person's down. And when one person's not feeling great, the other person's always picking them up, that type of thing. So we have a really good relationship that helps. And of course, like I grew up in the Bay Area, my co-founder did as well. So both our families are actually in the Bay Area as well. So that definitely makes it easier to have a support system. We have a lot of friends in the area. So yeah, I mean, in terms of personal life, it's definitely there's ups and downs. That's part of being a founder, but we enjoy every single day, man. And so far, it's been positive for sure. Like when you look at the overall trend, it's been positive. So we're happy.
Yeah. What other use case you can see as per the Hyperbound, right? It's a good, great tool, great AI, and you can create a different kind of feedback loop for different kind of job roles, right? It could be might be cold calling for any other things, or maybe calling from support section, right? Customer success. So, what other use case you are trying to do?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So it's funny you mentioned the customer success piece. We already do that as well. So we we already do like customer success renewal calls. We can do customer success like check-in calls as well. So that's something we support already. And the idea is eventually we want to be able to support a variety of calls for different industries as well, right? So we do, for example, we work with some transportation and logistics companies. So we do, like transportation, logistics, and supply chain calls as well. We also do We are getting into like some real estate related calls as well. Like when a real estate agent calls up a home buyer, right? So that's like another scenario that we're working on. So there's many different types of calls we're constantly adding to the platform. Eventually, the goal is for now we've been just sticking to B2B for the most part. But eventually, we want to get to a point where we can support the B2C use case as well. And I think that's when this thing just will skyrocket because that's a huge market in itself.
Yeah, so you can also make sure that there are people who wanted to make sure that a wife and girlfriend are not angry, so they can also practice the calls before making them on Hyperbound. That could be a good use case.
A very interesting use case, man. I mean, we've been asked. You know what? There's this one interesting use case we've been asked for, where people are like, leaders are sometimes afraid to fire employees, or they don't know how to have that conversation, right? And so that was something that people asked us, for a use case. Can you build a bot where I can pretend to fire this bot? And so interesting use case. We haven't really explored it too deep, but we've been asked for it multiple times.
Yeah, that will be great, breakthrough in terms of fighting and layoffs. So yeah. Right, right. Okay, what are the mistakes most of the sales reps making while doing these cold calls? What do you think? You have
Yeah,
the data, right?
yeah. That's a great question. I mean, there's a lot of things out there that we put in the past. So definitely like if you go through our LinkedIn's, you'll find a lot of information. But yeah, in general, you'd be surprised. Like a lot of reps still don't know how to discover pain. Period. Right? Like they think that like okay, yeah, cold calls like 2 to 3 minutes. They're usually short calls, but the best reps manage to spend those 2 to 3 minutes finding pain. And that's a very hard thing to do. You have to be every question you ask needs to be intentional. It needs to come from you need to know, you need to have a reason for why you're asking that, and you need to lead it into the right conversation, right? Like a lot of people, especially when they're just like in the middle of their day, you're just calling them, interrupting their day. They're not thinking about all these things, right? So you have to kind of remind them and make them and really dig that knife into that pain, and that's what discovery is all about. And yeah, there's like definitely strategies to do that. We That's what we train on in Hyperbound, but most reps don't get it, especially the entry level reps. They're far from.
Hmm. Okay. Now, so I also like I also train people to do good calls. And also try to teach them how to make sure that they are reaching out to the right customer and persona, all those stuffs, right? Uh, do you think I could be replaced by Hyperbound? I mean, my training will be not needed in future.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we actually have a pretty big sales trainer ecosystem. So here's the thing, man. I mean, the for us, like we work closely with a lot of sales trainers, right? Sales trainers do a lot more than just like role playing with reps and like training them and giving them feedback, but it's also like they're actually like setting up these scripts, like teaching reps how to have good tonality, how to actually like be smart about your prospecting. And yeah, there's also other channels outside of calling that trainers are also helping reps with. So I don't think we're replacing a sales trainer, like at least like anytime soon, man. I don't see that so far right now. To be honest, like sales trainers really are coexist with Hyperbound today. That a lot of our best users are actually like sales training companies that use our tool to for their benefit.
It's just like getting a tool which is just like getting a sword for doing the good for in terms of sales and all, right? That's what exactly Hyperbound is doing. So I
Exactly.
just wanted to make
Look at our
yeah.
marketing. We never call ourselves an AI sales trainer because we're not really a replacement for your sales trainer. There are definitely benefits to getting a true human sales trainer, right? But we're a really good addition that lets you train on your own time, right? Like a sales trainer can only work with you a certain number of hours, right? But this can work with you anytime you want.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'd definitely like to know about the things which people are doing in terms of cold calling, in terms of doing sales and all those stuff. Because you are in this ecosystem from very long, right? Now you are building a system, you're working with sales trainer, right? What are the mistakes most of the people do, right? Just right after coming into SDR role, just right after joining the SaaS, what they should do in a right term for a good, successful career?
Yeah, I mean, is there any particular part that you're curious about?
Yeah, I'm talking about the especially when they are starting a business, right? So let's say I'm just starting a SaaS company, right? Maybe I have a two or three people, right? I just hired a SDR, I had a AE and a BDR, right? And I think they will do the entire job, and I'm just starting on them. Why you're not generating the lead? Why you're not making calls? And calls will give you the numbers, but ultimately they need good training, they need good support, they need good kind of pitch, all those stuff, right? So what exactly pain areas they should look at and they should change?
Yeah, so you mean like salespeople at early stage startups, like
Right.
how they should work. So, funny enough, like we actually don't have sales reps yet that we've hired. Yeah, so it's been fully founder-led sales. Just my co-founder and I do all the sales right
Wow.
now.
How you are doing? And now this is more interesting. Now how you guys are doing? What exactly you guys are doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, so for us, like it's all been primarily inbound, right? We
Hmm.
do a lot of LinkedIn marketing, and when I say LinkedIn marketing, it's not like paid marketing. It's just us, my co-founder and I, posting regularly. We post every day. We're making posts on the Hyperbound page. We ran a cold calling competition recently. I don't know if you saw that. We had like 500 people around the globe join that cold calling competition. So yeah, like most of it's all inbound, primarily through LinkedIn. We do have a couple of email sequences that we've launched, that bring in some leads as well. But yeah, otherwise we don't do too much cold outbound right now. It's just taking demo calls, taking those calls from the sequences, but it's pretty much it.
Take me through the entire process. I would like to know more in details. What exactly happened? Let's say someone booked a demo with you, right? What exactly you do? Because there's so many junk when it's inbound, right? You don't have control on persona, you don't have control on ICP, right? Anyone can book and anyone can just wanted to have a demo. How you save your time, how you make sure that you are using your time because you are also a founder, you have other things to do, right? You're not just a salesperson.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's an amazing question, man. So when we first started, we had so many demos, like hundreds and hundreds of demos, to the point where Atul and I just could not take every call. So first thing we did was just choose what made sense as an ICP for us, right? Initially, like we weren't 100% sure if this was the ICP, but we just decided, made a choice, and went in and filtered out everyone. Just declined meetings with anyone that just didn't fit that ICP, sent them a respectful message, and then had them join a wait list. We have a wait list form as well, so all these people are on a wait list still, right? And then we took those remaining calls, and what we usually do is it starts with a little bit of discovery, right? So that first call is just like a 15 minutes to 30 minutes discovery call. Just figure out what they care about, whether they're a good fit. And then after that, we set up a demo with some other stakeholders. Usually, we bring in like a director of sales or a VP of sales, sometimes a VP of sales enablement or revenue enablement. Those are our buyers usually, right? So we bring them in, we give them a demo, and then the next call usually is either we set up a pilot with them if that's something that's interesting. So it'd be like a paid pilot, or we set up a call with their CRO, who's going to eventually make the final decision, right? And usually there's some pricing negotiation that happens, maybe one or two calls of that, and then yeah, that's how we close out the deals. And yeah,
Hmm.
that whole process can take around like 3 weeks to 4 weeks, I would say generally. Yeah,
And what is
usually
the ticket size?
the ticket sizes, our ticket sizes are
Average. Average will work.
average ticket sizes, I would say, are like around like 20K ish. Yeah.
How you guys are doing? I literally know I wanted to know the secret, right? 3 to 4 weeks for 20 to 20K, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
It's like
god.
it's like a month or so for 20K.
Wow. Is still it's too, too short. I mean, I take around 3 months to close around 20K deal. I mean, can you teach me? Can you train me?
I think like it's just you got to get people. It's all about like ICP, right? Like if they really have the pain and this is a priority for them, and they find the product interesting and they're early adopters of AI, then it's not a super hard sell usually. And if you think about like how much these companies spend on training today, Think about like your usual sales trainers, like JB training or force management or winning by design, right? There's all these like very well-known sales training agencies that companies spend like thousands of dollars on these organizations, right? Especially during SKO season. You might have been part of one of these, right? They'll bring in like a sales trainer for 1 week, and it's great. That 1 week is great, but do you know how much they spend on those? They spend
Hmm.
like hundreds of thousands of dollars on those training sessions, right? So compared to that, when we come to them and we tell them, "Hey, we'll train all your reps up one-on-one coaching with our AI tool, and we'll give that to you at 20K." They are more than happy. So
Hmm.
yeah, like when you compare to like anytime you compare a SaaS tool to like human capital, it's just easy to justify the cost.
Yes, I you were saying that you will not replace me. That just seems like.
No, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, like, uh, there's again, I'm talking about the difference, right? Like, if I went and I hired, uh, like, let's say, like one of those sales training agencies to train every single rep on my team for the entire year, how much would that cost me, right?
Hmm.
On the order of millions, right?
Right.
That's what we're trying to say. Like your training engagements, I'm sure like you're not one-on-one training every rep for an entire year at a company,
Right.
right?
Right. Jokes apart, but I love to get replaced because this is I also believe that wherever the humans have to do the repetitive work, they should get the automation and they have to focus more on creative or something, creating some new kind of module, some kind of new kind of training process, something new where you are putting more value. Because when I'm doing repetitive work, that lost the value, that's lost the energy, and that's happened, right?
Yep.
Uh, okay. How the founder let sales happen? How you nurture this waiting list because there are thousands and thousands of people waiting. In that particular list. How you nurture them? What makes them interesting in your product for long term?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So one thing is we're always releasing new features, and we talk about them constantly on LinkedIn. And almost anyone that's ever come through our inbound funnel, we're connected to them on LinkedIn already. So like we're like we have automation set up to make those connections happen if they're not, right? So we make sure like everyone is in our bubble at all times. That's like one of our biggest marketing strategies, right? Make sure that anyone that comes into our website or comes into our marketing funnel is becomes part of that LinkedIn bubble that we create, right? And so that way, like any posts I make, people are always constantly seeing them. Like in fact, you'll see a lot of people that signed up on our wait list because they weren't ready. Maybe they didn't have enough. Their team wasn't big enough. They didn't fit our qualification metrics. They'll come back to us like 2 or 3 months later, right? And they'll say like, "Hey, our team's big enough now. I'm feeling the pain now. I've been seeing all your posts for the last 3 months. I'd love to get a demo now." Right. So we've definitely seen things like that. Also, the email sequences, like I mentioned, like people that come in have tried a couple calls but never booked a demo with us. We nurture them with just like pure email sequences. Like they're like triple touch sequences for 3 weeks straight. They're like multi-channel as well, like LinkedIn, email. We even do like voice notes as well on LinkedIn. So yeah, many different interesting ways we get people's attention.
Oh, that's interesting. I love the part of voicemail. A couple of people also reach out to me with a voicemail, and I love that because that makes me curious that what exactly it is. I cannot see, right? I have to listen it, and when I listen it, I know that I have to reply because I have already listened that, right? Uh,
Exactly.
what is the biggest source of your inbound leads? Is it LinkedIn?
Primarily LinkedIn. Yeah, almost,
Mm.
primarily LinkedIn, and then, every now and then we'll get people from just Google. I mean, our
Mm.
SEO is I mean, we've never put any focus into SEO as of now, but, funny enough, we still do decently well. I mean, we're like if you search up, like, AI sales role play on Google, we're, like, the 4th, which is not bad for a company that's done, like, zero spend on SEO. So, yeah, we do get leads through Google as well sometimes.
So this is what happened when you make a good and interesting product. When people are talking about you, definitely, you'll be rank on SEO because
Exactly, it becomes
people
easier,
are
right?
doing for you. Yeah.
There's enough LinkedIn posts, there's enough YouTube posts, there's enough buzz in the market that we just automatically manage to get to the top of that.
Does it make you, afraid that if you not keep it this product that label, it will be fade away? We have seen many companies coming into buzz and then they are fading away slowly.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a good question, man. I think See, the thing is, like, the buzz thing is nice, but I don't think that's necessarily the success determiner of a company.
Hmm.
Like, the buzz thing is nice. It's a great way to get a lot of people interested, get people talking about it. But it's not some. I'm not a big believer in that. Like that buzz needs to be the exact same throughout the entire like life cycle of the company. Eventually you're going to have enough leads. You're going to have to close those leads. You're going to have to make sure those customers are happy, and that's going to be more important than anything. Because if those customers are happy, they'll share the idea with other customers, right? They'll refer you to people. Eventually, you'll be able to post those success stories, and that will attract more people. So, yeah, like buzz is cool and all. It's not what determines success by any means, in my opinion. Yeah.
Hmm. How big is your team?
Yeah. My team is we're 5 people now.
Okay. And why you are not hiring people?
I mean, actually, we just hired 2 people, so we were 3 people until 2 weeks ago.
Wow,
Uh,
what an achievement! So
yeah,
from 3 to 5 now.
yeah, so we were 3 people until 2 weeks ago, and we just hired 2 people.
Hmm.
So we actually hired our first founding head of CX.
Hmm.
So yeah, she's amazing. She's going to be helping with like onboarding people, taking care of our existing customers, and then we also just hired our founding designer as well recently because honestly, I'm personally a very big believer in good design and good customer experience, and so
Hmm.
investing in a designer earlier than later is going to be a huge win for us.
Okay. On a serious note, I really wanted to know: is there not requirement of people? You guys are managing all the tasks, and most of the things are automated, or is it like you wanted to take time to hire anyone from just you don't want to hire random people who gonna leave you very soon?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we're just very lean, man. We want to be lean. I think the thing with the startup is like you'd want to make sure you reserve as much capital as possible for as long as possible, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like hire as you need it. Don't waste money, right? Because like we raised a seed round. It's not like we raised like a fat like Series A round yet or something, right? We don't have money to like go hire like 10 people right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna be lean. We're gonna spend our money wisely and make sure we get the best of the best. That's the other thing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
our bar for employees is extremely high. Like anyone we hire, like we're looking for potentially like a founding SDR right now, and yeah, the bar for that is going to be very high, right? We're not going to take anyone that can't book as like at least like 20, 30 qualified meetings every month. 30 for sure, at least.
Okay, now that's the interesting part, right? I have a two question from you. The first part, are you afraid that you will not raise a fat A Series A funding even after YC? That's hard to believe, right? Invest
Well, I mean,
investor are always ready. Oh, you have a YC, take my money, man, all yours.
dude, if you look at the stats, it's I wish it was that straightforward, right? In fact, a very small number of companies from YC actually managed to raise a Series A, even like compared to the number of companies that come out of YC. There's a very small percent. I don't know the exact percentage. Maybe it was like 30% or something raise a Series A, which is great. I mean, that's a pretty huge number. But then the drop off after that is huge. So after the Series A is when there's a significant drop off. So very few companies actually manage to do the Series B. So yeah, I mean, we're confident that we can raise a Series A. I'm not too, especially given that there is clearly some early signs of product market fit. The main goal here is like make sure customers are happy, right?
Hmm.
Because the worst
We
thing you can do
are.
for yourself, yeah, I mean, the worst thing you can do for yourself is like yeah, you get all these customers, and then a year later they all churn because they're not happy.
Hmm.
Right? Then
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
matter if you raise a Series A or investors are excited. None of that matters if your customers are not happy. So
Hmm. Okay, and now the second question from that statement: what exactly you are looking in SDR apart from booking 30 demos in a month? What other traits you want to is there like nature or maybe culture fit? What exactly, what mindset you are looking for founding SDR?
yeah, great question, man. I think someone that's first of all like excited about the product, right? Because they'll be able to communicate that excitement to our prospects as well, right? That's a given, but also just someone that is, kind of relentless. I think as an SDR, you have to be relentless, willing to take rejection, willing to, uh, you know, uh, like not be afraid to talk to leaders, especially like these demos. We want them booked with like VP of sales, ideally, right? Like VPs, potentially even like CROs. So that requires a certain type of person to be able to talk to those people and have the confidence. That's another piece. Like we want someone that's like kind of sold to this persona in the past, knows how to deal with these people, knows what their pain points are, and can speak to that without fear.
Mm. Mm. Do you think any you clearly mentioned that you want someone who have experience of selling to these, CROs and VPs, right? But do you
Yeah.
think there will be someone who's not experienced but still too much passionate about the product and the solution which you are doing?
Yeah.
You be hiring those people?
Yeah, so for sure. I mean, we don't have like a strict requirement there. There's always exceptions to that rule. It
Mm-hmm.
always helps to have someone that's had experience.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, I mean, definitely, I'm always like a big fan of getting someone that's passionate and a hustler over like any type of past experience. Mhm.
Why I'm asking, Sai, I always, whenever I'm hiring a teammate, right, I always ask that if your basic needs are fulfilled, you don't have to worry about that. What is the
Yeah,
one thing you will keep doing for entire life without getting money, right? Without getting any extra money, anything, right? I'll take care of your basic needs. Will you do it this job for your lifelong, and you'll be happy? If that person is not happy with things that person is that going to do in my company, I think that's not a correct fit, right? That person should love that work, whatever they are going to do. That's
yeah,
what makes
yeah.
them,
No,
different.
exactly what I was trying to get at. It's like that enthusiasm, right?
Yeah.
That passion, you can tell as soon as you start talking to someone, you can tell if they kind of have that in them.
What changes you have felt in yourself, after starting a company, after becoming entrepreneur, after becoming a founder, and then went to YC, then getting this response from market, and now you are on my podcast.
Yeah. uh,
Okay, sorry for the bad joke, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, changes myself, man. I think there's a lot of different things. I would say like the main thing is I've just gained confidence myself as a leader. Before Hyperbound 2, I had never talked to like a VP of sales or a CRO or much less any C-suite person. Period. I came out of college in 2022. I'm 24 years old. So this is it's not like I've been talking to like C-suite folks my entire life, but I think, yeah, definitely like that confidence has increased over these last couple months. Just being able to talk to those personas, knowing that we've built something very interesting and something that not many people can build. So that there's that. Also, just like being able to manage a team too. Like we have a founding engineer. Now we have these two other folks, and I'm learning how to set deadlines, how to set expectations, how to make sure that everyone is bought into the mission and the values of the company. So there's just a lot of that stuff, and it starts with the founders, right? The founders first have to believe in those things. The founders have to be like very exemplary of those values and the mission. So yeah, that's also another thing we've just gotten better and better at over time. Yeah, and as a salesperson, yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, I went from like never having sold anything to now we've sold like hundreds of thousands of dollars in ARR over the last 6 months, just my co-founder and I alone. So that's something definitely that I'm proud of as well. Just like how much I've picked up in terms of sales.
What kind of book you read?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's actually this one book that I highly recommend for founders called Founding Sales. It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's this person named Pete Kazanji. Actually, his full name's Peter Kazanji. He's the
Mm-hmm.
founder of Atrium. If you guys have heard of Atrium,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but yeah, he's amazing. He's actually one of our angels as well, one of our closest advisors, and we've been reading his book, and it's basically like our manual, our sales manual. Anything we want to do or anything we have a question about, we go read his chapter in that book, right? So
Hmm.
that's definitely been a big part of it. And yeah, Richard Harris is also has been very pivotal. Like he has a book as well. I forgot the title of the book actually, but we refer to it as well a lot during this journey. It's very helpful
Hmm.
for founders too.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, what if someone wanted to start a company, or maybe you wanted to start a company in this market right now, which is a very good, people are talking about SaaS and everyone jumping on solution. They are talking about AI. What other tools you like to build?
Yeah, great question, man. In all honesty, I haven't really thought about it. I've been so laser focused on Hyperbound. I haven't really thought about like what else I could be building. I mean,
Hmm.
of course, there's a lot of interesting areas coming up. There's all the AR, VR stuff that's been happening. I think that's going to be a pretty crazy space moving forward. I also,
Hmm.
yeah, no, for sure, it's
So
growing.
soon we can also see that Hyperbound, entering into metaverse and people are doing
Why not?
VR calls with seats, what
Why
that
not?
that will be interesting to see. I mean, great, yeah, that's a great idea.
That would be pretty crazy. Yeah. So we've yeah, that's also an interesting space. We've also considered just not just training, but eventually getting into you know um, like fully getting into like call intelligence, like building some sort of sales co-pilot that sits across your entire sales stack, right?
Hmm.
So we have a couple different ideas. We'll reveal them as we go.
Time yet to come, that's true. That's great. Thank you so much, Sai, for sharing all those stuff, and great to see that you are building an awesome product. And I'm very excited for the future VR project. I mean, I'm sure that will be soon, very soon, right? That will be launched very soon, right?
We'll see about that. I think enough people have to go buy the Apple Vision Pro before that happens, and that means those. Yeah, that thing's expensive as hell right now. So
You can try with Meta one. That also good.
maybe metaverse is the way to go. Yeah, I I don't even have friends that have that have the headset yet. So when that becomes generally available and most people have one, then it'll make sense. Yeah.
Great. Once again, thank you, Sai. Thank you so much.
Awesome, appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, man. I had a great time.
Thank you for watching. If you have watched this entire video, now this is time to subscribe this channel because we keep posting this kind of videos. So you should not miss any of this video. Please subscribe, like, and comment your feedback. Take care. Bye bye. See you in the next video.